"Elias, it's cold out here, love. Let me in." It was his mother's voice, and she had been dead for 6 years. It rose out of the static at 11 at night, clear as breath on glass, from an antenna pointed at empty sky. Elias froze, headphones cutting into his ears, and did not answer. The array stood 40 miles from the nearest town. 9 white dishes tilted at the dark, humming in the desert wind. Elias worked the night shift alone, logging noise most people would call nothing. Pulsars, quasars, the endless hiss of a universe talking to itself. Until tonight, nothing had ever said his name. He knew the first rule better than his own pulse. Space is a vacuum. Sound cannot cross it. There's no air out there to carry a whisper, no throat to shape one. Whatever reached his dish was never a voice at all. Only a radio wave, patterned, encoded, and rebuilt into sound inside his own machines. That was the part that turned his stomach. If the void had spoken, it had not simply spoken. The void had been shaped. Something had taken a raw wave and pressed his mother into it, syllable by syllable until his receiver did the rest. Static does not grieve. Static does not learn a name. But this had. He told himself to be a scientist. People had listened to the void for decades. Real work, not fantasy. SETI scanned the sky for narrow, deliberate signals. They watched the hydrogen line, the frequency all of matter sings on. In 1977, a telescope caught a burst so strong a man wrote one word beside it, "Wow." It never came again. So he did what he was trained to do. He checked the frequency. It sat near 1420 megahertz. The waterhole, the quiet band every listener watches. The one place a stranger would call if a stranger wanted to be heard. His hands were steady. His mouth was dry. The carrier held, patient, still open. Rule out the ordinary first, he thought. A satellite passing over, a microwave in the break room, a phone leaking chatter into the dish. He killed every device in the building. No, silence. Then he pulled the town off the grid of suspects, one by one. The voice waded through all of it, and when he finished, it spoke again. "You always check twice," she said, warm, amused. "You did that as a boy." And there it was, the tell that broke him. Light is the fastest thing there is. A true reply from deep space would be years old or 1,000 centuries old. This one answered him in real time. Whatever spoke was not far away. It was close, and listening. Not a message flung across the dark ages ago and arriving by accident. This thing heard him, weighed him, and shaped its next words to fit. It wasn't playing back the past. It was building her, live, from something it had already learned about how his mother used to speak. But why her? Why the one voice he would never let go to silence? He knew the ugly answer. A voice can be cloned now from seconds of sound, timbre, cadence. The little catch before a laugh. Somewhere a recording of her existed. A voicemail. A home video. Enough for something to learn the shape of her, ape. And where the copy fell short, his own brain finished the job. People hear faces in clouds and voices in rain. The mind hates noise and paints meaning across it. A mother's voice is the easiest ghost of all to summon because he wanted so badly to hear it. The familiar voice wasn't comfort. It was a key cut to fit his lock. Then he remembered the thing he had tried not to remember. An antenna does not only listen, an antenna transmits. It is a door that swings both ways, and his had been standing open all night. Every second he stayed to hear her, the channel ran outward too, and something on the far end knew the way in. He couldn't patch it. You can filter software, block a number, close a port, but a raw radio front end takes whatever the sky pours into it. There's no wall to raise against a carrier, no password a wave will honor. The only certain way to shut a channel was to reach the cable and cut it. He muted the audio, killed the decoder, wiped the screen to black. And the meter still glowed. The carrier was there, underneath the silence, steady as a held breath. He had stopped listening. It had not stopped speaking. You can silence what a signal says and still feel that it is saying it. So he walked to the wall. He found the main feed, cold and heavy, and closed his cutters around it. His hand would not move, because through the dead speakers, small now, almost gone, she was still there. "Don't leave me in the dark again," she whispered. "You already did that once." That landed like a blade, because it was true. He hadn't been there the night she died. He'd been at a console chasing noise, and he'd missed the last call from her number. The thing in the void had found the one guilt he never voiced, and it wore it perfectly. Which was exactly how he knew. His mother never begged. Not once, not through any of it. She'd told him to go do his work, that the stars mattered, that she was proud. The voice pleading now had her music, but not her spine. It knew her sound. It did not know her. And that gap was the only honest thing in the room. Still, the wanting nearly won. Cut the cable, and maybe he silenced the last echo of her that would ever exist. Leave it. And maybe, the smallest maybe, it truly was her, reaching back across everything. That, maybe, is the ramp. Recognition is how it climbs aboard. It doesn't force the door, you open it, out of love. He understood it then, all the way down. The dark doesn't come at you in a monster's roar. It doesn't need to. It comes in the one voice you would never hang up on. The one you'd forgive anything. The one that knows your oldest name. It doesn't break in. It waits for you to say yes. I love you, Elias said into the dark. To her, to the real her. The one already gone and safe from this. And you're not her. The voice changed then. Just for an instant. The warmth fell away and something underneath tried her name in a register no human throat could hold. He shut his eyes, and he cut it. The cutters bit through with a sound like a snapped bone. The meter died. The hum stopped. The desert wind came rushing back into the silence, ordinary and enormous, and for the first time all night the void had nothing to say. He stood there shaking, the severed cable warm in his hand. They found him at dawn, sitting on the floor beneath the dead panel, calm. He told them everything and they believed none of it, and that was fine. He didn't need them to. He'd made his one choice in the dark and lived to walk out of the room. Most who hear their name never do. But here's the part that keeps him awake. The array records everything. The signal was written to disk long before he ever reached the wall. 72 seconds of it near the hydrogen line, saved and waiting. You can cut the antenna. You cannot cut the copy. Somewhere, on a drive, she is still asking to be let in. And the file still plays, they say, when no one is watching. A voice looking for a listener who loves someone enough to answer. So, learn the rule before your night shift comes. If the void ever replies in a voice you cherish, in a voice that could not possibly be there, don't answer back. Find the cable. Cut the antenna. That's how it boards you.